Welcome to our first video post to JCR Leeds. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jay, I'm the owner of the company. I'm the main technician in the business here. The reason for our video post is we wanted to give our customers an insight into what happens behind closed doors at the unit. We also wanted to let you know exactly who's dealing with your vehicle and kind of what parts we're using. We're German auto care specialists, so we service vehicles from the full VW Audi range with OEM parts, same with BMW and same with Mercedes. We're also specialists in performance tuning. We only use genuine licensed tools and software. We are also going to be introducing very shortly our online shop for supply and fit of many performance parts. Lots of top of the range retailers out there. We've managed to strike a number of deals during the lockdown period, so that's something else that we're going to be introducing to you. Keep your eyes peeled on our website for that. Today, so let's get started. Today we have a 2011 Cupra R in, one of our good customers, previously tuned by us. We look after the servicing on this vehicle. So today it's having a bit of a full health check. We're looking over a number of different parts. So we're going to go for a full service. In that service from us you'll get, I'll just put my trolley over here. So we'll only use OEM oils from the dealers. We're going to be going for an oil service, oil and obviously filter. We're looking at the fuel filter as well today. We're also going to be looking at the cabin filter as well, and we're going to be using some uprated NGK Iridium spark plugs on these because we find that these are very helpful for performance. We're also going to be looking at a couple of revisions on this vehicle. So we found, I think obviously everybody that deals with these types of vehicles on the petrol tier size found that the diverter valves often fail. So we have advised our customer to go for a revision G, obviously full OEM. We're going to do that, and another bit of healthcare that we often suggest is good for these cars is to do the camshaft follower. I know that my counterpart that stood behind the camera, Aidan, is going to be dropping some lovely little snapshots of what happens if you don't replace these items, and we'll also have some filming at some point during the day today where you will get to see the items that we've taken off, see what condition that they were in, and obviously you'll probably be able to see that these are recommended for a reason. We're going to get on with a few things. We're going to obviously take a look around the car. We're going to get started, I think, with the service. I think we'll go straight in for the oil and filter. So let's get started. Oh, we've not talked about the induction kit. So we're also, as I mentioned just previously before, we work with some of the best dealers out there. So on this one, we're going to be using today a Ram Air kit. It's an oversized kit for this particular car. We've not actually had the pleasure of fitting one of the new Pro-Ram filters that these are now coming with. So this is the first time that we've actually got to kind of have a look at this. We'll just have a look. It's made, instead of the foam material, it's made of some really good breathable material that's obviously going to help with performance. So looking forward to fitting this and hearing what it sounds like shortly. So during the course of the video, what we are going to do is we're going to show you some of the tools that we use, just so that you've got an idea yourself if you can't get down to us and bring your vehicles down. Obviously, some of these things are self-explanatory and people like to service their own vehicles. So we are obviously quite sponsored by Snap-on. We use a lot of their tools because they're great quality. We can also get these tools for you. So we are environmentally friendly. We do destroy our oil properly. So I'm going to remove the sump plug and crack it off. First of all, these shouldn't be on too tight, but we always replace these on a full service anyway. I'm just going to get this in so it's in the right position. Okay, so we're going to move to change the fuel filter. It's a little bit of a fiddly job. It's not really as easy as what it looks. On these fuel filters, the one that we're going to be replacing it with is probably it's the same, but the older variant of these only produce 6.4 bar and this one produces 6.6. These fuel filters are much better for performance. We will get to trying to get these clips off. As I say, they're not the easiest of things to get. They are a little bit fiddly, and obviously you are going to get a little bit of fuel over yourself. This car has been sat for a couple of hours now with us whilst we've been getting on with a few other things, so there shouldn't be too much pressure in the fuel system. Hopefully it's not going to drip all in my face. For this job, I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver. There's a little bit of wiggling about that you're going to need to do. I'm going to go for these two back ones here. So if you can see in there where I'm going to put my screwdriver, there is like a tab, and if you push that in and wiggle these about so that they kind of move, yeah, if you have to have it in when it moves, they can be a little bit fiddly because they've got a ridge. So I'm just going to see whether I can pop it off there. Right, okay. So I'm going to pop this one off. See where we are. As I say, there will be a little bit of fuel. That's them two off. This one on the front is a little bit different again. So instead of the tab being towards you, it's actually behind. So same method again. It's still pushing it in, but what we're going to do on this one is I'm going to probably slightly turn it towards me, but without putting too much pressure on that line. And I'm going to see if I can get the tab in like I have. And yeah, I'll see if I can. Yeah, I've got that one, I think. So yeah, try not to break these because you will not be happy if you break them. It makes what could have been a simple job very messy. Okay. I did want to get myself, but this is real TV, I suppose, so I don't mind so much. Okay, we did say it was going to be a little bit messy. It's free anyway for us to get down now, so I'm just going to unscrew that holder, so Phillips head. Okay, so I'm going to get this one out. Try not to drip anymore on myself. There we go. Okay. Nice. Okay, so where it came out from, we're going to get a new one in. It seemed to go on a lot easier than what they took to come off. Okay, so that's that done. So we're going to remove the oil filter now. On there is I think it's a 36. We've got a Blue Point hub nut remover. So you remove the little tab first of all, get that off so you can get it using this on a half ratchet, and we're on, should be on off. So we're going to go. Oh,
clean up time.
It's definitely clean up time.
Being on a clean up mission, I see.
I certainly have. I've tried to tidy up as much as I possibly could. Silly design. Okay.
Now what are you doing?
So, now I'm going to, well, before I actually put the new filter in, what I'm going to do when I can find it is I'm going to lube the new ring. And I'm going to pull the old one out. There we go. Oh, I can feel that's not very flexible anymore. Okay, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to put it back in. Just enough. Not too tight, because you're going to make it difficult for yourself when the car comes back in for its next service. And obviously you don't want to breach the seal or crack the actual housing of the oil filter. So I'll put that tab back on and we're going to give this a clean up with a bit of brake cleaner and a rag. And then once it's stopped dripping again, we're going to put the new sump plug back in. So same principle again. It's really annoying when you come to a sump plug and some other mechanic has been in there and decided that they needed to over tighten it. So once the nut is actually onto the washer and you know it's there, you get it tight just enough to hold it and then leave it. Right, well we've got lots of things to do up top. just going to have a look first of all. So we're going to remove this induction kit that he's currently in. Obviously we're going to be replacing that with the new Pro Ram oversize induction kit that we've purchased for the customer. We're going to be changing the cam follower, and we are also going to be changing the diverter valve, as well as removing the spark plugs. I'm just trying to think which order we're going to do these things in for you. I think, considering what we've got on, I think if we remove this induction kit first, and we'll start with that. Okay, so we're going to remove the induction kit that is currently fitted with. There's been quite a lot of damage to this one, which is why he's changing it. Plus, we get to put the new Ram Air one on as well. So I'm going to start by taking the mass sensor out. That's on a hex. I don't know, it's the smallest one that I've got. I think it's a 3. And I'm just using that on a little ratchet. And I'll put that to off. That satisfying noise that you hear when you're using good tools.
Get some ASMR of that, Jay.
Take these, mate. I can't take these off, you know.
She needs to do it. I'm leaving that.
Put a 7mm socket on, and I'm going to remove some of these holders that are in sight just while we're up here. I'll loosen some of these sections off.
Jay has sent it.
I've managed to get it out somehow in one whole piece. I need to get this pipe off. Thank you.
Looks like Phil. He's got the old orange dipstick here, and it's missing the O-rings, the seals. Yeah.
Is that where his oil's coming from?
No, but he needs a new dipstick. He needs to get the yellow one. Go on, Jay. I thought you were a strong lad.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people do use power tools, guns to do these types of jobs. We like to make sure that we don't damage things. Use the right tool for the right job. It says with a screwdriver that's too big. Remove these. So these are decent condition. I'll put these in the order. I took them out. Okay. So spark plugs. I'm going to examine the chambers just to see whether we can see any kind of corrosion, any kind of dust particles, stuff that might go back in. But we'll replace them first, but the chambers look in good condition. So I'm going to use a 3/8 with a 16mm socket. I'm going to crack off the spark plugs.
Look at that beast. Where did you find that one, Jay?
No idea. But it does its job, apparently. So earlier on we said that we were going to do some, well, in our opinion, what we would say is upgraded spark plugs for this. So we're using the BRK7s, the NGK Iridium spark plugs. They provide a better spark. Obviously you want better performance, better spark is obviously going to go with that. So these are the ones that, you know, we would advise, I think, across the industry with, you know, most tuners. They'll use these as a standard if they, you know, they know what they're doing. So we're going to put these ones in. These have a little seal on them, and there's a little ridge on the sides there, so when you put them back in, you know exactly where you're putting them. You should hear a satisfying little pop or feel it just go in, so you know that it's in there properly. I'm just removing the rest of the heat shield that was on the old kit, and I want to give us a little bit more space because we're going to sort we're going to replace the cam follower shortly, so I just want as much arm space to move what we need to kind of unattach from there. And then we're going to put the new heat shield in from the new Ram Air kit anyway, so I think they're probably similar in design, but we need to remove this one. We want a nice new one in there for our customer. So when we remove the cam follower, what we want to do is we want to relieve a little bit of the fuel pressure that's in there. So there is a release valve on here. If you release that, it's going to help overall with when we move it. Try and make as little mess as possible, unlike the rest of the video. So I'm going to get started on that. So we would normally replace the two bolts that come in here with new ones, and actually we did order them, but we didn't realise that the customer has bought an aftermarket kind of protective cover here for his fuel pump, and with them they come with specific bolts because they've got a washer kind of system to make sure that it's the right size. So we'll have to make sure that we take care with them when we take them out, because we're going to have to put them back. But yeah, let's get started. I'll have a look. So I'm going to release a bit of pressure out of the fuel pump so that we can work on it, and when we do take it off, obviously some of that pressure is gone. Yep, as you can see, it's highly pressured. After great struggles with electric clips, as per normal, I resorted to asking Aidan to remove it for me. We can't get to the other one just yet, so we're going to remove these bolts here in order to get into there. So it looks like someone's had a good go at breaking this clip before we got here. So we relieved the pressure earlier, save the mess in the long run. So now we can get access to the T30 now. We've removed that valve. The reason I removed the valve is because you can't get to the T30 without doing so. There you go. So I'm going to grab the bucket.
It's completely worn through the black hardened coating, but overall it's not too bad. Caught it just in time.
So we're going to put the new bucket in. What I have done is I've put a small amount of oil inside the actual container that it came in, just to make sure that we've lubricated it. Literally putting them in dry, you don't know the amount of damage that you're actually doing. You probably take it back to the way of the one that we've just had. So this is actually a really important thing when you're doing this. I've also got the seal for the fuel pump in there. Put a little bit of oil around that as well. And I'm going to remove this one from here with my pick. It says another one to remove. So that one off, and you can feel there's no it's quite dry. It needed to be replaced. It's gone hard. Put that down there. And put this over here, and it's nicely on. So there we go. So as we said, this part is it requires good lubrication, so I'm going to put some oil, as much as I can kind of afford to put onto the cam lobe itself, and then some oil, some new fresh oil in and around, just so it's all lubricated in there, and then I put it back in ready to get our springs back on. There we are.
Can you? Are you allowed to show?
I don't think you can show blood on YouTube, but
No.
there was evidence.
Right,
of...
okay, so let's start this again. What have you done, Jay? What happened to your thumb?
I stabbed it.
Why did you stab it?
Because the Gorilla Glue had decided to seal itself up, and I thought I'd try and stab it in the end, and I stabbed my thumb instead.
I'll blur the blood out in it.
Yeah, blur the blood out. The finishing touches on putting the fuel pump back on. So I plugged the top plug back in, and I'm just about to. I put the T30 back down there. I'm going to make sure that it's all kind of plunged on, because obviously it's held on a spring mechanism inside. So you need to make sure that its seal has gone in and where it's meant to go. You'll probably need to tighten them up individually and go around until you've torque them up properly. And I'm just putting the plug back on. And a nice little clip there. So that.
Right, cap on.
Cap on. And then bring this PCB back round here. Be careful with these, they get brittle over time. So they are a bit of a pain sometimes.
Anyone
but that one's
owned a BMW will know all about these.
yeah, they disintegrate actually in your hands generally, normally.
They're just made out of powder on BMWs, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So now we've done the spark plugs, we've changed the cam follower, we've made sure that everything's back in place. We're going to move on and we're going to go down to the diverter valve now.
So this valve, as we can see, is been broken in the past, and it's been held together by super glue. So Jay's going to try and not destroy it even more by taking it off and releasing it, aren't you, Jay?
Yes, I am.
So we're going to stop filming now, aren't we, Jay?
We're going to stop filming
Yeah.
while I break something.
So we've got it off without breaking anything. So that is a mission success, isn't it, Jay?
Successful, mission accomplished. So I'm going to remove the diverter valve, hopefully in one piece. I'm going to take these T30s out, there's 3 of them, all the way around.
And we'll be able to see the condition of the diverter valve as well, because you're saying it's not boosting right, aren't you?
Yeah, it feels
It's a bit
when I drove it over from picking it up from the customers this morning, it just felt a little sluggish on pickup. Obviously we tuned this vehicle a good few years ago now. Obviously you can see customer tries to keep up, you know, with the maintenance. He has done quite a bit of the stuff I think himself previously, but he likes to pass his car over to us now and let us have a look at it from time to time. So obviously this one's quite a big health check, so we're going after parts that we know are liable to fail or can fail and haven't been changed in a little while. So, you know, just best practice really. Better safe than sorry. And as I say, I'm going to try and pull this diverter valve out now in one. Okay, so there we go. So we've got a P-Berg.
It's a revision D, that one.
And this one is a revision D. So this one is slightly different. It is still one of the upgraded ones from the original, but obviously they found that there was more room for improvement. So this one, if you can see, it's got the D there, which lets you know that that's what revision it's on underneath. And obviously this is a part that is shared with the Volkswagen Audi Group TFSI engine. So it's one that we would advise to kind of change from time to time, just to make sure that the car is in the best possible health.
Yeah, you've got to treat it as a serviceable item, the diverter valves on these, because the revision D is like a piston type, so it doesn't hold boost as well.
Yeah. So there you go. This is the one that we're replacing it with. We're putting the revision G in there. This should hold boost better than the other one, and just hopefully, kind of just last a little bit longer. These are prone to fail anyway. It is like Aidan says, a serviceable part. It's something that if you're keeping up with the upkeep of your Volkswagen Audi TFSI, just contemplate changing this from time to time.
How's it come?
Boo boo. It's actually throbbing a little bit. Tried to puncture a hole in my thumb with the Bic. Okay, so we're going to start with the induction kit. We fitted quite a few of these. Obviously, Aidan runs a Cupra with the same kit, just not with the new program filter on. So we fitted that one. We fitted quite a few others. So I find putting all the heat shield in and where the guide is just a little bit easier. So I'll start with that. Earlier on, you see we stripped the car down so that we could have gained access to everywhere else that we needed to go, just with ease. And like I say, now what we're going to do is going to start putting this back together. So quite a simple kit really, from Ramair. It doesn't take an expert to kind of put these together. Pretty much you've got a small Allen key that comes with some of the bolts in there, and then other than that you need a 7mm and a 10mm socket, and you're away. You can pretty much take everything apart, put everything back together, and we're going to show you how. So I'm going to put this one in over here. So earlier on, when we stripped it down, there is 2 lugs that sit here, like feet, and underneath there is a 10mm socket. We find it easier to grab the lug from the top and remove the socket, the 10mm from the bottom, and then twist the tops to get them off. These are replaced, so if you do damage them, like some of them do get damaged, don't worry so much, because you will replace them with these bolts here. So I'm going to get started with this one. I'm going to get this fitted up to where it needs to be. Hi love. With the second one, I have a pair of lugs that sit on the feet there underneath the holder. I've popped them off, and basically you've got to squeeze them through each one, twist and squeeze them in. The heat shield sits in pretty, and that's nice. Okay, that's firm enough to be held in there. Okay, so now for the induction kit itself. Again, probably best to maybe lay it out. We've done a few of these so we kind of have an idea of where they go. But you're probably best to lay it out just so you know which Jubilee clips to use. So I think they've got like 6080s and 8000s. Separate them out for the smaller pipes so that you're not getting stuck. You've not put a big one on a small one. Later on you have to find that you've got to take it all apart again just to get to one of these Jubilee clips. Use the right one. So yeah, the first part of the puzzle really is so where we took off here from the turbo elbow, we need to get this on nice and snug. So it comes with a reducer, so it's basically going to expand out, so it's a smaller from the actual turbo. What I do is I position one on just so that it's actually facing me. It just makes life a little bit easier in the long run. You don't want to be trying to face your ratchet spanner the other way where you can't get any access to it. So I'm going to try and pop this one on. I'm going to tighten this one up a little bit, so I'm going to change my 10mm to a 7mm. I'm going to leave that facing me so I can get my bar in where I took it out from earlier on. Be in a similar position from there, and that's nice and snug on where it needs to be. I'll tighten this one up first before I put the second one on. I'm going to use bar, so I'm going to extend my reach to get round there. So little turns, but we're still getting some movement on it, so it'll tighten itself up. And this part you need to be making sure that it's nice and tight, because obviously this is the first point of contact. So I'm going to try and fit the second part now. Again, same process. I want this facing towards me, so I've got some nice clear access to put it over the pipe. This one I might need to make a little bit bigger just to fit around that. Yeah, because it's a little bit larger on that one, so I'm just going to extend it a little bit, make my life easy, trying to not squash them on. We're going to put this pipe in, which is where your mass sensor that we will be taking from the old one will go. We'll put that in at a later point whilst we're fixing it. I'm just going to get it nice and snug in the actual pipe. Yeah, so yeah. I'm happy enough with that. So we'll get that tightened up as it is. Make sure it's nice and flat around so it's above the ridge of the pipe. You get a good grip of it, and that's ready to go on. So we will send it.
Send it.
So this is an oversized ram air filter. So as you can see, where we've got the pipe here, it's obviously going to reduce, but it comes in from the oversized section, which is here. Again, we're going to leave this in sight to make your life a little bit easier. I'll put it around the neck a little bit further up, and I'm going to try and get this on without, I'll move this out of the way slightly. Try not to break any PCV valves while I'm in. So we come to the first piece of straight metal pipe, and this is going on with an 8100. So just keep these in mind, like I say, because you don't want to end up changing them later on after you've fitted them. So I'm going to try and pop this through in, and that's where we want it. So I'm going to make sure that I've got this on first again. I might need to open this one up again. Next part of the puzzle is one of the corner pieces, because you'll be coming out around the corner and then around this side. So again, you want to be ready with one of the blue clips. I'll open this one up now just so that I know that I can pop it on. Whilst we are in today, what we're probably going to do is, because normally you'd have to take off some of the induction kit to do this job, but whilst we've got the induction kit off, I'm probably going to test the evap system, just so that we know that everything on this car is sealed and there's no leaks, you know, with regards to the boost pipes or anything else on here. So I'm going to take a short break, get our smoke testing kit and show you what that's all about. So this is our evap tester. This tests pressure through the system. What it does is we will, I'm going to put some power to it first of all. What we're going to do is we're going to pressurise the system. So make sure this goes up. And what we'll do is we'll blow the balloon up inside the pipe. We're going to check whether these pipes hold pressure, and then what will happen is the smoke will travel around the system, and if there is any leaks anywhere else we will be able to see it. So I'm just going to plug the compressor in, power. I have a special UV torch. So what the smoke tester has in it has dyed smoke in there, so if there's any leaks anywhere around the air intake system, we're going to be able to see it. And like I say, we're going to press on. We're going to give it a medium high flow, and let's just see whether this pressurizes the system. Okay, so straight away here we see that we've got a problem. I don't think we really need a torch to see where the smoke's coming from. This is coming from the PCV system on the vehicle. These do actually suffer as well. It's not an unknown fault for the TFSI engine. They do suffer with the breathing issues up top, and like I say, these PCVs do often fail. So obviously unfortunately we're going to be going back to the customer with a little bit of bad news, but that is the purpose of bringing your cars down to us. You know, we're going to give it a full health check, make sure that, you know, things are where they need to be, and as I say, you know, we unfortunately sometimes are the bearer of bad news. Okay, so back to the induction kit. Unfortunately that didn't go the way that we wanted it, that smoke test, but so is life, and like I say, we'll look to see whether we can replace that item. It looks to be maybe potentially non-genuine, but we'll have a look and see whether we can get a replacement part for our customer. So I'm going to put a clip on again somewhere like where I want it to be, and then we can get this final straight piece of the induction kit in here. So we only have a few pieces left now to put in. We're going to have another corner for the actual kit going around and into here. Make sure that we've got enough space for the actual cone itself. I might just put the cone on just to see how far this sits off, just to see whether I know where my wiggle room is. Cone comes with this part here. You've got to put it in this way, so give it a little squeeze and it should go in reasonably easy. And then if I pop this just on here temporarily, just to have a look and see where we land up with the bend once we've put the cone on, and where the heat shield's gonna sit with the cone in. Look at that. Very, very nice material, really breathable, long lasting, great for performance. So you have to have this part of the heat shield in first, because obviously there's no going in over the top, so you have to put that in and around. And that goes in with a 10mm socket on the other side, onto the old holder, which is there. So what we'll do is get this in position, and then we'll get a bit of an idea of where we need to be. So inside the kit you've got this like a kind of rubber protector, and obviously going through that hole is a silicone pipe, but over a period of time it does rub. So Ram Air kindly sends you out with this rubber protector. Loads of people forget to put these on, and they think that it's just you know, an aesthetic thing, it's just to make it look nice, but actually it does serve its purpose. So try and make sure that you take a bit of time just to kind of put it on, because it will save you your silicone pipe in the long run. So I've got my Jubilee clip in place. It's all nicely covered up, protected, same again in circle. So I'm going to get this and see whether we can get that in place. Okay, so we're ready to put the cone in, and Again, I want that nice little program logo there facing. So you may remember right at the beginning of the video we did drop the oil. I have put 2 litres in. On these TFSIs they take between 4.5 to 4.6 litres. What we're going to do is we're going to start with 4. I've put 2 in, I'm going to put another 2 in. I'm going to get her started up. What we'll do is we're going to run a log on obviously we've changed the spark plugs. We've given her a full service, so we're going to run a log on VCDS, just check, make sure that we've got no misfires, make sure everything's happy, and then we're going to move on to doing the cabin filter very shortly. So earlier on you might remember we did a fuel filter change, so what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just cycling the ignition a few times. Markedly recalibrated itself.
Yeah.
It's obviously got a lot more air coming through it at the moment. So having a little think about what he wants to do at the moment with regards to air and fuel. But got it started, we're going to leave it running, let the oil cycle, and then we're going to check and see how much oil we've actually really got in there again, and then we're pretty much done. So we're going to do the cabin filter. Quite an easy job, again something that you can do at home. So we've obviously got a nice cabin filter in from VW for this Cupra. Again, simple tools on this one, just using a little ratchet with a T20. Underneath you'll find here, just underneath the glove box, there are 3 T20s that you've got to remove to take the panel down, and then behind the panel we should be able to see the cabin filter box to take it out, and then just towards the back there are a couple of little twisty kind of knobs. I think if you turn them 90 degrees towards you facing you, they should release. Okay, that should release panel for you to be able to get underneath. So now that we've got the panel out, you've got a plastic housing underneath, and you'll see that there's a tab. It's like an arrow where you can just put your finger, and if you pull this to the side there, essentially that will come out, and as you can see there's some muck, a bit of muck and dirt in there. So yeah, obviously you've got a little bit of a difference there.
This is why you change your cabin filter, folks.
Yeah, so a bit of a difference to that one there, and obviously this one here is a bit mucky really. So that's that out. Okay, so there's a couple of plastic feet that kind of sit in the holes underneath here. So obviously for you to get your screws back in, you'll have to push them close enough for it to hold. And you'll slowly see that line just disappear, so you know you've got it in tight enough. And done. And needs a little bit of a dust out. And that's your cabin filter. Right, so obviously we said that we wanted to run some logs on the vehicle. We've done a lot of work with the servicing, we've moved a lot of things around, coil packs, etc. So what I was really wanting to have a look is just to see whether we could run a log on the cylinders, see if we've got any misfires. We run VCDS VADCOM, so we've got good interaction with the vehicle. We can see what's going on in the brain. You know, it tells us a lot about how to kind of identify if there's any issues on a vehicle. Unfortunately, this hasn't gone the way that we would have hoped. I was hoping for a nice full bill of health, but what I'm finding here is on cylinders 1, 2 and 3 we've got no misfires whatsoever, it says. And we've just had one pop up on 3, and then on cylinder 4 we seem to have a continuous misfire that is obviously coming on a regular basis. So now that we've done, obviously we've done a full service, we've gone through everything. I just want to make sure that I'm happy with where the oil filter is, make sure there's no leaks. Can't see anything coming down from there, everything's nice and dry. So we give it a clean up after I made a mess earlier on. Gonna check the new sump plug. Nothing coming from the sump plug. Obviously the car's running. The oil's nice and thin now. So if there's going to be any leaks or it's not sealed itself properly, you'd see it now. Have to put the under tray back on and get the car out. Thank you for watching our video. I hope you managed to get some good tips on how to service a Mark II Cupra 2 litre TFSI. I hope you got a good insight to what we do here at JCR, and tune in for our next video. Thank you very much.